my son. Think I ain't spoke to my son? Think I ain't told my son, his mama, and his grandmama, his ass going to prison. If you goddamn keep shit up, his ass going to prison.
T.I. once said time would be his son's teacher, not a lecture. A lesson you feel. Months later, body cam clips from a midnight stop start circulating, and that old warning suddenly sounds less like advice and more like a clock ticking. The question isn't whether the moment was big, it's whether it's the moment that changes everything. It's late. A BMW noses out of a gas station, tires rolling toward a lane that's busier than it looks. Blue lights flare. Officers say the car nearly clipped their cruiser. As they walk up, the soundtrack is bass and adrenaline. They note a smell in the air and a holstered piece riding his hip. The voice on the footage is steady, polite even. Hands behind the back, a pat down. The officer eases the holster off, mutters about not wanting any accidents, checks the chamber, one in the head, and sets the hardware aside. No safety, he says, like he's narrating a warning. Another officer asks about his buddy. Passenger door opens, palms show. Everyone moves careful. The questions come quick: license, insurance, where you headed? He keeps it yes sir, no sir, measured. Calm buys time, not freedom. The street looks normal. Gas pumps humming, traffic rolling. But the vibe's different when the past might be waiting on a computer screen. You can almost hear the clock when they say, hang tight. Radio chatter, a name repeated. A pause that feels longer than it is. What viewers see is a split screen, a young artist staying composed, and a situation that's already past composure. The camera doesn't catch panic, it catches patience, him breathing through it while officers sort metal from paperwork. This wasn't just about a lane change, it was momentum meeting reality.
Then he want to talk about some other like this being shit. This being shit. No, I'm being real. You lying. You lying. You up here flagging. You're cat.
One small moment stacked on months of choices, all heading for the same checkpoint. But this wasn't just a traffic stop. At the station, the pass shows up with perfect timing. They run the name and the screen pings. A 2-year-old case that never got handled the right way. Speeding. A suspended license. An alleged under the influence charge that was supposed to meet a judge and didn't. That skip date turned a stack of citations into a bench warrant, the kind that waits quietly until the next blue light finds you. Suddenly, a routine stop becomes custody by paperwork. No shouting, no drama. Just codes, case numbers, and a signature that says you're not walking out tonight. The path is the same one 1,000 others take. DeKalb intake, property in a bin, transfer paperwork humming toward Pickens. A recall on the warrant enters the chat later. But a recall isn't an eraser. It just removes the immediate hold. The questions don't vanish, they queue. That's how these things snowball. One loose thread from 2022 gets pulled in 2024, and the whole sweater starts to unravel in public. What makes it sting is the timing. None of this went viral when it started. It sat in a clerk's office, aging like milk, and then reappeared the exact week body cam footage turned his name into a headline. It wasn't the wild moment that did the most damage. It was the old paperwork that finally caught up. Rewind a bit and you land on the clip that reshaped the narrative. The Waffle House blow-up. A late-night back and forth turns into a shouting match. And suddenly a teenager who grew up on camera looks like he's performing for one. Lines get crossed, ego gets loud, and the internet does what it does. Freeze frames, captions, and a million hot takes. What read as confidence to some looked like entitlement to most. Overnight, the comments shifted from he's just a kid to he's headed for trouble, and that single scene became the reference point for everything after. It didn't help that smaller moments stacked up, fast driving on live, chest out energy in public, the occasional flex that made it easy for critics to say, see, pattern. Screenshots turned into storylines. Storylines turned into a brand problem. And when T.I. spoke up later, he didn't excuse it. He called it what it was: confusing, unnecessary, beneath the standard they'd set. Why stop your life to match energy with someone who wasn't even in your lane?
Don't be in this bitch.
Wait till I come back in the market late night, and then it's just you, and I slap you up. Yeah. You trying to act all tough? All like this in front of all your people. Tell your mama I said Happy Mother's Day, and then Karen in my face and shit. Like what?
That's the part that stuck with people. Not just the volume of the argument, but the choice to be in it at all. Clout rewards conflict. Algorithms pick speed over sense. Once that clip stamped his image, every new hiccup felt like confirmation, not coincidence. Fans didn't wait for context, they waited for a sequel. But the loudest voice wasn't the internet, it was his father's. On another day, in another live, the warning landed like a prediction. Keep pushing like this, and the destination isn't a stage, it's a cell. T.I. wasn't talking as a commenter, he was speaking as somebody who's felt doors lock and clocks move slow. He laid it out plain, the image you chase can become the evidence they use. The wrong crowd turns a flex into a file. Time, he said, will teach, because sometimes time is the only teacher that doesn't care if you're famous. It didn't stop at speeches. There were sit-downs about guns and videos about mistaking props for protection, about how one reckless set can turn a cameo into a charge. He pushed the boring fundamentals, be where you say you'll be. Let your team carry more ego than you do. Keep paperwork clean and don't trade a moment of looking real for months of real consequences. He tried to shift the room around his son, better studio hours, better company, fewer cameras when nothing good can happen. Guidance isn't always glamorous. Most of it sounds like go home, show up, and let tomorrow be uneventful. Plenty of dads talk, plenty of sons hear the words, but not the weight. Still, the message stayed steady. Your talent can open doors, but your choices decide which ones close behind you. The internet made the warning a meme. He meant it as a map. And when the body cam clips resurfaced, that old line about time stopped sounding parental and started feeling prophetic. Then life handed King Harris a brand new responsibility. November 5th, a new name enters the family tree and the tone on his feed flips. The caption reads like a promise, time to take over. And for once, the comments lean more toward blessings than barbs. There's a baby shower clip, grandparents smiling, and a song called Dear Son that plays like a letter sealed with intent. The verses aren't all polished, they're honest. You hear somebody trying to slow down, trading late nights for early mornings, and a mic check for a bottle check. Fatherhood does something algorithms can't. It shrinks your world to what's right in front of you.
Stand by right here for me. There you go. I'm 10 extend, 1 to 10. Spread your legs slightly. I just need to pat you down.
Suddenly outside isn't a flex, it's a risk. Studio sessions move earlier, friends rotate, the loudest part of the day becomes a newborn's lungs. That kind of responsibility doesn't post as well as drama, but it changes your math. One wrong move isn't just your headline anymore, it's a story your kid might read someday. But the internet doesn't forget on schedule. While he's uploading proud dad photos, the body cam clip makes another lap. The past and the present sit side by side on the timeline, and people pick the version they want to believe. Half the crowd says growth is real. The other half says it's rebranding. In between sits the truth. Change isn't cinematic, it's repetitive. Show up, go home, keep your name out of paperwork, keep your face out of thumbnails. That's the tension Harris steps into, two narratives running at once. One says he's finally building a life. The other says the old momentum is still dragging at his heels. Which version sticks depends less on a post and more on a pattern only time can prove. And that's where the narratives began to split. Here's where the web does what it does. A feed full of thumbnails starts shouting 5-year sentence. One channel posts faces up to 5, the next one trims it to gets 5, and by nightfall the caption has turned a possibility into a verdict. The packaging is familiar, orange jumpsuit emojis, a gavel in the corner, and breaking slapped on footage that isn't new. Comment sections treat repetition like proof, shares multiply, sources don't. When you slow it down, the on-paper story is smaller and clearer. A 2024 stop that surfaced an older case, transfers between counties, and a bench warrant recall, not a confirmed 5-year bid. That doesn't mean the legal lane is light. It means the 5 years line is unverified. So if we mention it, we separate what's circulating from what's confirmed. It's the difference between arrested, charged, convicted, and sentenced.
Yes, sir.
There's one in the way.
Does your buddy have one as well? All right, just hang tight right here for me. Let me clear this. I don't want any accidental fires.
There's no safety. You gotta take.
There's no safety.
You take the
Okay.
clip out.
Well, I'm not gonna mess around with that too much. Let me just set this down right here. Dude, step out for me. Yes, sir. Place your hands behind your back for me. All right now you're just being detained. You're not under arrest.
You sure?
I'm gonna be at the church. All right, I appreciate you being full, man. We're just gonna take a look at this information, make sure it's valid.
I ain't feeling this.
Just take a step to the side for me.
4 words the internet loves to mash into one. Why do these claims catch fire? Because outrage is efficient, aggregator pages echo each other, old clips get relabeled as today, and viewers who want a tidy narrative grab the loudest version. The truth moves slower, court calendars, filings, names spelled right. It's less clickable, more reliable. The risk is real, the timeline is evolving, and the loudest headline isn't automatically the truest one. Until an authoritative source stamps a result, the 5-year talk stays in the rumor pile. Interesting to watch, dangerous to repeat as fact. So what's really at stake? The Harris name isn't just a surname, it's a scoreboard. Music, TV, business, years of wins stacked on top of one another. That kind of legacy comes with an exchange rate. Every slip costs more. A stranger's mistake is a footnote. His becomes a headline, then a talking point, then a lesson people throw back at his dad. That's the tax on famous families. Your private growth gets audited in public. The judgment hits on 2 fronts. First, the silver spoon crowd. They say access should equal maturity, and any bad choice proves privilege makes you reckless. Second, the real ones chorus. They want grit without the chaos, edge without the paperwork, and they penalize him for chasing an image they cheer for in other artists. Either way, he loses the benefit of being young. He can't just be a kid who got loud at a diner or sloppy on the road. He's evidence in debates about parenting, fame, and whether money buys discipline. Then there's his father's brand. T.I. built the OG role. Hard lessons, tighter game plan, a blueprint you can hand your kids. So when Harris stumbles, critics don't see a son resisting advice. They see a mentor whose message didn't land. Endorsements get cautious, interviewers get nosy, family podcasts turn into cross-examinations. Even the wins feel conditional. Every good moment must be spotless to count. The ripple doesn't stop at father and son. Siblings get tagged, grandma trends, and mom fields rumors. That's the part people forget. Every public misstep drags a whole household into the comment section. The only counter is consistency, not a speech, a pattern. Days so quiet they never become content. There's pressure in that, sure, but there's also leverage. The same spotlight that magnifies mistakes can multiply a turnaround if it's real and sustained. The name can be a weight or a ramp. Which one it is depends on what he does next. So where does it go from here? The next chapter isn't magic, it's maintenance. Start with the legal lane. Show up early. Let the attorney do the talking. Keep paperwork clean, dates memorialized, and the phone on silent outside the courthouse. No lives, no jokes, no cryptic posts while anything's pending. If there's a program on the table, classes, community hours, driver courses, knock them out fast and keep receipts. Quiet compliance beats loud explanations every time. Then the circle. Shrink it. The room decides the outcome. No weapons on sets, period. No props, no gray areas, no exceptions because a friend swears it's safe. If a venue feels off, leave. If a friend brings heat, distance. Reputation is a group project. Choose partners like they sign your checks. Fatherhood is leverage if it becomes routine. Bedtime, bottles, doctor visits. The calendar should say dad more than outside. Co-parenting drama doesn't belong on the timeline. Celebrate the wins privately. Protect the kid publicly. That's how you build a life no headline can shake. Now the music. If Dear Son sounded like a promise, keep paying it off. Drop on schedule. Make vulnerability the brand, not the scandal. Tell the story without reenacting it. Collaborate with artists who pull you up and managers who tell you no. Let consistency drown out controversy until people quote bars, not charges. Reputation isn't rebuilt by speeches, it's rebuilt by boredom. 90 days of no incidents flips an algorithm. 6 months makes people forget the play-by-play. A year turns it into old news. Try a simple rule: no late night lives, no hostile back and forths, no viral moments that don't help the music. When in doubt, log off. There's also the give back. Not a camera chasing cameo, real work, studio workshops for teens, safe driving partnerships, panels about image versus evidence. Do it quietly, show up repeatedly, and let other people tell the story if it's worth telling. Money matters too. New baby, new budget. Pay the boring bills first, invest in the team that keeps you out of trouble, and make security a line item, not an afterthought. Grown man decisions look plain on camera. They look genius in the long run. The fork is simple: keep feeding the fire or starve it with discipline. The internet wants spectacle. Real life rewards patterns. Stack enough uneventful days and the past becomes a lesson instead of a label. Because the next headline hasn't been written. Warnings can feel annoying until they come true. But destiny isn't a headline, it's a habit. If T.I.'s old line about time was the prologue, what Harris writes next decides whether it was prophecy or just a close call. Maybe this saga becomes the chapter where the heat finally cools and the music gets louder than the mess. Or maybe the internet gets the train wreck it keeps asking for. The cameras are still rolling, but the ending hasn't been filmed. The next headline is a decision, not a surprise.